What's good, everybody? Gamer Critic back with another Why I'm Buying, and today we are talking about, personally, one of my most anticipated games of this year, period, 007 First Light. So 007 First Light is a third-person narrative action-adventure game being developed and published by IO Interactive, the studio behind the Hitman games. It releases on May 27, 2026 for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. It is also coming to Nintendo Switch 2, but on a later date. During my time locked down in COVID, I blasted through the entire trilogy of the Hitman games, and let me tell you this, Hitman 1, 2, and especially Hitman 3 are some of the best modern stealth games you can play, period. So with that alone, I can't think of a better studio to make this game than IO Interactive. They were practically made to make a James Bond game, and so far, given everything that I've seen, I think they are easily delivering on that promise. And not just on the gameplay front, because of course on the gameplay front, I've got no issues. It looks like more of the glorious same. These really big levels where you gotta sneak, stealth, and fight your way to your objective. And the game gives you so much freedom that the way you get there can be completely different on a second playthrough. But one thing I definitely see as a big improvement right now is the story. Let's be honest with ourselves here. The Hitman games are great, but they are not story games. The stories are not good. But with 007, you can really tell that they are putting in effort to tell this story by telling a James Bond story that I don't think we've seen very often, given how this is actually a prequel. I mean, please, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not gonna pretend I'm like a James Bond expert, but I don't recall any movies or games touching on this story of James Bond, actually telling the story and the events of how he became 007. So yeah, the story follows a young James Bond before he becomes 007. Against the wishes of many others, he's recruited into the M16's revived 00 program. Along the way, Bond uncovers a conspiracy involving a rogue agent 009, and now it's up to James Bond to find and stop 009 and prove himself worthy of truly earning the 007 title. So outside the fact that the trailers are giving me exactly what I would want from a 007 story, cool cars and gadgets, badassery and babes, it's got everything. It's got everything that you could ask for from a 007 game. But I just really like the idea of this not being based on any movie or games. This is a completely new Bond universe and backstory that is actually showing a James Bond that has not completely come into his own yet. I mean, it's not to say that he's not skilled, but you can still clearly tell that he's young, brash, inexperienced, and still has a lot to learn. They are really showing his inexperience by him making a lot of mistakes, actually learning the craft of espionage and actually growing and becoming worthy of that 007 title instead of already just knowing it. It's just really cool to see a version of 007 that, yes, is still a badass, but still has room to really grow and learn in this craft. So I just really like what I see of this story so far. I like the idea of a younger, inexperienced Bond. I like all the characters I've been seeing. The voice acting across the board sounds great and looks great, by the way. It has really good production values with the cutscenes looking on point. And if that is not enough to sell you on the story, they have freaking Lenny Kravitz in this story. What the hell is he doing in this game? I mean, I'm not complaining. Who doesn't love Lenny Kravitz, of course, but he, of all the actors you could have thrown into your James Bond game, that's the one that caught me the most off guard. I need to be clear. I am very interested in this story. I think that the story has a lot of potential. But that's not really why I'm playing the game. I'm playing the game because IO Interactive knows how to make a good stealth game. And from what we've seen in these trailers, I really think that 007 is going to be one of their best. One thing that made the Hitman game so special is that the worlds, the levels that they crafted are not only just meticulously detailed and look amazing, but they are so big in the sense that you have many different options of making it into the area and reaching your objective. The amount of freedom that IO Interactive gives you in the Hitman games is nothing short of phenomenal. And I think 007 is going to do just that, but take it up just a few more notches. Now, I do need to be clear, while 007 First Light is still going to be big, it's gonna be a little more mission-based than the previous Hitman game. And that means they're gonna be a little more generous of telling you where you gotta go and when you gotta do it. But it's still gonna give you enough space and freedom to experiment. The missions are still going to contain multiple different routes and approaches, and you can see that these are gonna be large, explorable spaces with crowds, side paths, security layers. IO Interactive themselves said that they use a creative approach philosophy for this game where the player decides how the objective is complete. How you get to that objective is completely up to you, and you have many different ways of doing it. You got stealth, you got social infiltration, you got fisticuffs combat. You have many different options of getting past your goal, and how you plan on doing it is completely up to you. Easily the biggest gameplay pillar of this game, like your previous Hitman games, is your stealth. Sneaking through guarded areas, pickpocketing guards, etc, etc. But what makes 007 really fun, and why I think this has the potential to be the best, even better than Hitman, is because it's 007, you are a spy, and like so, you get to use spycraft and a lot of neat gadgets that are gonna help you with your stealth. For example, you got the Q watch that allows you to scan the environment, interact with electronics, you can stun your enemies, etc. You actually get a spy phone that allows you to shoot darts at your targets. You get a set of earphones, but wait, they're not just any earphones. They are described as shock mine earbuds that allows you to create traps and disrupt enemies. You get so many neat gadgets and tools that can only be seen in a 007 project. But if all else fails, you also have combat, which is really kind of new for these devs. I won't say new, but stealth was definitely the focus of the previous Hitman games, and full-fledged combat was kind of pushed to the wayside. But the devs themselves said that they make it clear that James Bond is not Agent 47. Agent 47 is meant to be a silent assassin. 007 is not that. He is still young and inexperienced, and most importantly, he is a fighter. So combat is intended to feel a little more faster, more reactive. They really make it clear that it's really focused on improvisation. It really shows that in every combat encounter, he is really adapting. Now, the fact that they say that this has Arkham influence is great, because I love the Arkham games, and I can kind of see it. You got direct melee encounters, chaining attacks, counters, finishing moves, but again, they do their best to make sure that he doesn't feel like a superhero. They make it messy and not as efficient, but still capable of getting the job done. Shooting in the Hitman games was never all that great because it was never the main focus, but here in 007, they really tried to make it more cinematic and meaningful. The game adds environmental combat and destruction. You're gonna have objects falling during fights, destructible environmental moments, using surrounding as advantages. And I think my personal favorite thing, they're gonna have set pieces, baby. They're gonna have big, major cinematic sequences, from crazy ass car chases to actually falling out of a moving plane. That's badass. That's really cool. Admittedly, that is really the only big set piece that we've seen, but the devs have made it clear that in this game, there are going to be several of them. You got improved combat with better melee and better gunplay, while still keeping the same expansive stealth that is focused on freedom, with incredibly designed and gorgeous looking levels to boot. And you combine it with the awesome gadgets and a way more interesting story that is going to show 007 in a light that, again, I don't think we have truly seen before. And assuming IO Interactive can really nail that story, then I truly think 007 First Light has the potential to not just be IO Interactive's best game, but probably one of, if not the best 007 game, period. But like I say at the end of every one of these videos, I could be entirely wrong. They could mess up the story, or they could mess up the combat. There's even a chance that the stealth and the levels don't actually deliver. I'm not counting on it, but there's always a chance. But we are going to be finding out very, very soon when this game finally releases on May 27th, 2026. And that's why I'm buying 007 First Light. Thank you guys so much for watching. My next video is going to be a quick review on Mouse PI for Hire. So be on the lookout for that. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. It helps a ton. If you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, you can follow me on Instagram. That's @thegamercritic. Be good people, and I will talk to all of you very soon. All right, peace.